Hey, Joel again, and now I'm going to talk to you about how to create what we're going to call a shell Google Ads display campaign. It's necessary to create an empty standard Google display campaign in order to utilize analytics to create remarketing audiences first. It sounds weird, but basically we're going to create an empty account or an empty campaign for display ads for our remarketing audience before we create our remarketing audience. It only takes a minute and it's some high level stuff that you're going to learn really quick. So let me switch over and here we go. So we are logged into our standard Google Ads account. It's not a Google Ads Express, or I forget what they're calling it now. It's not anything guided. It's a standard Google Ads account. We're going to go to the campaigns tab and we're going to create a new campaign. And within our new campaign, they give you sort of these guided campaign creation tools. We're going to skip that. We're going to do it without a goals guidance. Remembering, we know what we're doing. We're creating a remarketing display campaign. So we kind of want to avoid Google's one size fits all and their standard targeting services. And a lot of that is going to be dodging those things because they're going to constantly be trying to get you to use those methods of creating this account. And there's certainly benefits for that. So without a goals guidance, and then we're going to choose a display campaign, not smart, and definitely just display. No matter if we're on the track of creating a remarketing display campaign, this is the only one you can choose. Down here, we're going to avoid the smart display campaign and do a standard display campaign at this time. There are benefits to a smart campaign, certainly, but not for what we're doing here. And I'm going to go ahead and just give my web address. If there's a particular page within your website that you want to target, you could choose that. I'm just going to point this towards my homepage. Once we click continue, we'll have the type of basic display and the name. And of course, this is important. We're going to call this our remarketing campaign. And also important, so if you're targeting the US and Canada, or the US, or just a city, you're going to want to do that here. I'm going to go ahead and target the whole country with mine. Weird thing about a remarketing display campaign is we're only showing our ads to people who we have tagged, or potentially allowing Google to find people who are like the people we've chosen to tag. And that gets us a little bit into targeting. So if I said, hey, all countries and territories, but in my tagging process, I was very careful to only target people who were in, Dallas, then it wouldn't really matter, as I wouldn't be tagging people in New Delhi. But that said, if I want to utilize machine learning within this campaign or Google's lookalike audiences or their version of lookalike audiences, then I will want to focus in on that city or region or even tiny little geo-target around an event or what have you. A little bit about targeting. This one can be misleading. People in or who show interest in your targeted locations. This basically could be people in China or India or anywhere who are looking for things in America. So it's not always the best thing. I often go this way. Now, if we're targeting a city, then is a better argument to utilize the top one. It's something that you'll have to experiment with. Remember, in remarketing is sort of strange when you start thinking about where we're going to allow our ads to show, because ideally we're only tagging people who are in that, that meet that criteria regardless of where they happen to be. For me, I'm going to go ahead and just target the US and Canada. I'm going to go ahead and say in or who show interest in, because again, I'm going to throttle most of the traffic most of the audience that this campaign is shown to people who I tag, who will be in those regions. I know that's a mouthful, but this is a pretty standard way to set up a campaign. And then we're not excluding any regions, but this certainly would be a place where we could exclude, countries that are known to drive a lot of fraudulent views or clicks on a banner. Languages, English is fairly standard. I don't expect that people who only speak French or who have their browsers set to French would get much from the ads I'm going to create. And this is another tricky spot, is versions or bidding strategy. So Google is all about targeting for conversions. The problem is I'm running a remarketing campaign. I want to show my banners to people who did certain things within my website. I want to show them my banner. If they click on it, great, but in this case, it's really about brand awareness, and I'm not expecting people to take action that moment. That won't be, that won't fit every client, but in my case, it is my intention. Let's say I'm doing this for a client who has a big product line and it's a high ticket item. It's a big deal to get somebody to fill out a request information form or to take some physical action other than spending a certain amount of time on the website. In that case, I really know I've been successful when the business owner who's on his website frequently begins to see his ads. When he sees his ads, he gets excited. He saw it on CNN, he saw it on Fox News, he saw it in his favorite whatever website that he's at. That's always a big win for us. And it also tells me that I'm doing something right. He is like his customers 9 times out of 10. So by going for a different strategy from not conversions, not clicks, but impressions. So I really want to bid and target viewable impressions. These remarketing audiences, when done correctly for big ticket items or services, usually aren't very big. Like you might have 1,000, 2,000 people. Those 1,000, 2,000 people aren't going to click your banner every time they see it, but the value isn't always in the click. It can be in the impression, sort of like a billboard. So with viewable impressions, we're going to go after showing this banner to people who have visited our website or done things within our website that we target. We're going to show them this banner as often basically as Google will let us without them getting sick of it. So we'll go viewable impressions. We'll go just $1 at this time for our budget. And we're going to name our first ad group, and we'll call this remarketing ad group, for lack of a better name. And this is where Google's going to try to tempt us into targeting, and I'm going to avoid all of it at this time. I'm not going to delve into every one of these types of targeting that Google allows you. But remember, the purpose of this particular campaign and ad group is only for remarketing, and our goal is to show our banner to people who have been to this website as many times as Google will let us, basically. Demographics is a little tricky because you may know at a high level that you simply don't want to target, very young people, or you really want to target parents and don't care to ever target not parents. And I don't totally trust the household income to do its job. I'm sure Google does a great job at this, but again, if you're absolutely convinced about any of these settings, feel free to mark them at this time. For me, I'm going to leave this campaign wide open because again, using remarketing, I'm going to tag people who interacted with my content in a certain way, and it's just not very important for me to keep, a gender or an age group or whether they're a parent or not from seeing that banner. Let's see, content targeting, not at this time. Targeting expansion is a little sticky. This is hidden up here at the campaign or the ad group level. And remember that our goal with this ad group is to only show banners to people who have been to our website before. We don't want Google necessarily to expand the targeting. So I'm actually going to leave this alone for now, but be aware that it exists and possibly come back and turn it off or at least down once we get going. I'm going to set similar, just a $1 bid, and I'm not going to create ads at this time. I'm just going to create the campaign. And it's kind of grumpy because obviously we've done no targeting and no ads. And that's it. With those steps, we now have a completely naked Google display ad remarketing campaign. Let's see, I can get up here to the campaign level. There we go. So we have our remarketing campaign. In our remarketing campaign, we have one ad group. I can do it. There we go. I'll stretch that out there. We have one ad group. It has no ads and almost no targeting at this time. Seems like a strange step, but trust me, it's going to help us when we get to the next step, which is creating our remarketing audiences. We'll have a place to send them, and then we'll come back and we'll build out our ads and refine that targeting just a little bit. Thank you.